Welcome to Tree Talking Time, where we talk all things tree dogs, from the smallest feists to the largest hounds, treating squirrels to bears and everything in between. And from time to time, we might even run a little fast game.
You know, there's so many things you could talk about all the years, but I started coon hunting,
Mm-hmm.
and my dad would always said he's not a coon hunter, he's a coon catcher.
Okay.
Hide dogs and the
Yeah.
price of furs and all that, and that's where I got my start. And we always had beagles.
Now, when you were hunting hide dogs, what were you hunting?
Anything.
Okay.
It didn't matter. Generally, we'd have a real tight mouthed hound
Okay.
and maybe a cur dog here or there. You know, just it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Whatever the best thing that Dad could buy or find at the time, that's what we had.
Yeah.
You know, and here's a good story, and it's kind of cool now looking back on it. At the time, it was no good. Dog would be treed 300-400 in there wherever. I'd get single shot rifle and one rifle shell. Walk in there and miss, and walk back to the truck and get another shell from Dad.
Yeah. He didn't want you putting a bunch of holes in them
No,
hides.
he said you learn how to shoot that way.
True.
So you know, at the
you take a little more time.
Yeah, you'll take your time, make sure you got a good shot, and at the time it was terrible, but it made you think, and that's kind of transitioned over for me into these squirrel dogs to make sure you've got a really, really good shot if you do want to take a squirrel.
Yeah.
You know, when that shot's taken, it falls.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've got no timber and
You're not spraying and praying with shotguns?
No, never been allowed to shoot a squirrel really per se with a shotgun my whole life. Now I've shot a few, but that's never been the way we did things. You know, it's looking back on Dad and the things that he taught me growing up, a lot of life lessons.
Yeah.
And you know, he was a dog man.
These dogs, they do that. You can teach kids a lot about life just walking through the woods following a dog, because especially you get to talking. You know, it's not like your deer hunt where you're sitting, or turkey hunt where you're sitting still quiet. I'm not saying you can't learn from that, but that's the nice thing with kids and dogs. It's you can do a little more working with the kid.
Oh, sure. You know, last night I guided a youth cast there out of the fairgrounds here, and well, I could see that the one of the dads was getting uptight with the boy. You know, we had two dogs struck in working right-handed. His dog's left-handed, not struck in yet. He's looking for his dog. Of course, now he's 7 years old.
Yeah.
I think we had a 5, a 7, and 11-year-old.
Okay.
And he's a little antsy, wanting to talk one day, and I called him over and got him over there with me, and I was down on one knee, and he sat on my other knee and got quiet. And I said, now look, you look for your dog, listen for your dog. And about that time, we could see her tracking collar through the woods there, and he got to focusing on that, and he knew his dog was left-handed, and these two were right-handed. And we sat there just a little bit, and she got struck. He struck her, did a nice job, and of course, then these dogs come treed right-handed, and he's wanting to stay there to listen to his. And I said, no, we got to go with them. And we got up and go, and then the dad thanked me. Hey, thanks, you know, pulling him over. And I said, well, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
You know.
Definitely. These kids are definitely the future. So,
Sure.
Well, why don't you introduce yourself before we get too far into this?
Well, I'm Tom Smith. I'll be 52 years old here in October. Got my wife, Cindy, and two boys, Briar and Bryce. They're just finished their second year there in college. Or Bryce finished yesterday. He's home now, and Briar will be home Tuesday or Wednesday.
Okay, nice.
So
we're here at the famous Farm Junk Kennels.
Yeah, that's where we're at. That's where we're at.
Hence, you probably hear some dogs in the background.
Yeah, we're here. We've been here 8 years now.
Okay.
we live 30 minutes south of here. And the opportunity came up to sell down there, and we came up here and traded 7 acres for 38.
Nice.
We
just took a nice little stroll behind your house. You got a nice little patch of woods.
Yeah.
Right behind the house.
Yeah, convenient.
Yeah.
Convenient. If you're pushing for time after work, you can always get turned loose here at home because you can walk home in the dark.
Yep.
And it's not a problem. And I've got plenty of hunting up here, which is nice. It's still not grown up a bunch, but it's coming.
Yeah. It's probably got you out of that growth a little more.
Yeah, it did, for sure. I was in southern Delaware County, which is crazy.
Yep. A lot closer to Columbus.
Yeah, for sure.
Got to explain that because most people,
yeah,
they're like,
that's right. Yeah, where you at?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. We're about 45 minutes north of Columbus here, where we're at, and then before we were half an hour from Columbus, but a lot closer to Dublin, down where the Memorial Tournament is.
Yeah.
Right there within 6 miles of that golf course.
Okay.
And it's a lot of growth. The Columbus Zoo was 4 miles from my house. A lot of that stuff, and that's where I grew up hunting. Now it's all houses.
Yep.
It's
No, I get it. I live between 2 cities, and they've both just come right out. Philadelphia and Baltimore. So
yeah.
They just keep spreading out further and further.
Big cities too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I definitely get it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about these farm junk dogs.
All right. Well,
where did the farm junk come from?
Well,
just the name.
The name. Everybody always said, I hunt this, I hunt that, I hunt something, and I come up with, well, I hunt junk. And that was back in the computer days of being on there, and that's what I'd always say. Well, I hunt junk, I hunt junk, I hunt junk. And over the years, running around with Dean Wright, DW, he said he hunted farm dogs.
Yeah.
And we kind of throwed that together, or I did, throwed those 2 things together, and that's where we went.
Gotcha.
Nothing more than that.
It's just kind of a funny name. That's
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of what we got. Mix whatever it is, we'll hunt it, or try to anyway, and try to be competitive.
Now you pretty much have mostly hound, and even a lot of your hounds are crossbred hounds.
Yeah. Blessed started this whole mess out as far as the hounds go with dog Last Chance Lucy. Probably, never replace her. She's still standing out here in the kennel now. She's 11.
Yeah.
And had to drag her out this morning just to look at her.
A little slow to get up this morning.
Yeah, still a little chilly, and she decided she wasn't done yet. But, still hunting her, occasionally, and just to get her out of the pen, and she'll be here to the end.
Yeah.
She owes me nothing, and I feel like I owe her a lot.
Yeah.
And I told you the story a little bit earlier while we were hunting about Uncle Mike coming in off a cast and had drawn her and come back and told me, he said, right there's the best hound squirrel dog I've ever seen turned loose. And at that time, I didn't know Dustin McGowan real well. I just knew who he was. And I happened to be walking through the parking lot that day, and he had priced her to somebody, and it wasn't my business. But I walked on, and about a half hour later, he was by himself, and I approached him and said, is that what it takes to buy the dog? And he said, yes, it does. And I walked over to the truck and wrote him a check. Like I said, he didn't know me real well at all, and I told him, call me when it clears.
Yep.
And he called Tuesday morning and said, hey, that check was good. I said, well, I was hoping it was. I'll be down to get her. So Wednesday, we loaded up. Uncle Mike and I loaded up and drove to Russell Springs and picked her up.
You and your Uncle Mike just are not afraid to hop in the truck and roll.
No, and it's great. We got to go to Mississippi. We got to go to Illinois. And he's been everywhere. It doesn't matter where you're going. He's been there twice in 2 different ways.
Yeah.
72 years old, blessed to have him with us still. He still likes to go, still likes to hunt. He just needs a little different speed dog than what I turn loose.
Yeah.
And we're trying to find him the right one, to where he can still compete when he wants to.
Yeah. Like I told you 2 days ago, I competed with him 10 years ago with a real nice little dog that you said was a same cross as that Frisco dog, right?
Yeah, that would have been the alias Smith and Jones dog,
Yep.
Jonesy.
And he was only like 10 months old, and he put on a little show that morning.
Yeah. He was Bobby Cox started him, and Mike and Bobby were tied at that point after Mike had got Frisco, and Bobby told him he had a good one. And if you know Bobby or knew Bobby, he's gone now, but he was gruff and rough and not family friendly very often, but a great guy and a great dog man that was sharp.
Yeah.
And Mike went ahead and bought that dog and did a lot of winning with him, and ended up selling him to Steve Baker at the time.
Yeah, like I said, I really liked him, and that's the only time I've ever. Well, I actually ran into your Uncle Mike at Autumn Oaks this past year as well, but
I got you.
the only times I've ever really talked to him. But
he was a coon hunter, hunted English dogs back in the day, and ran around and did a lot of night hunting, and then been in the concrete business forever, and got busy and got out of hunting, and we're just glad to have him back in it here. And, And like I said, it's nothing more than a blessing to call him and say, hey, we need to go somewhere. And here he comes and gets in the truck, and he'll drive me every step. I even look over while he's sleeping driving and say, hey, you need me to drive? I got it. Okay. But it's great. It's great.
That is awesome to have somebody like that can go with you. I drive a lot by myself, and it's just nice to have somebody for company.
Sure. Yeah. Somebody to enjoy everything with, the travel, you see something funny, you see something outlandish, and the dogs, and he prides himself and pretty much a perfectionist as far as his profession goes.
Mm-hmm.
And, as far as the dogs go, he's critical.
Yeah.
I like this, I don't like that, I want this, I don't want that, and I've kind of learned over the years with the dogs is a big thing that's hard for some guys to do is realize that you need to adapt yourself to that dog.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be that great dog that did this, A, B, and C. It may be one that does A and C, and you got to work on B in the middle, or you got to live with B.
Yeah.
And I think if you transition yourself as a handler, owner, whatnot, it makes it a lot easier.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah.
Let's get back to Lucy. So you drove and got Lucy.
Yep.
Brought her home. She's an English hound, right?
Yes.
Nice looking red tick.
Yeah. She's she was the prototypical deep and lonely.
Okay.
As far as that went, never wanted to be around dogs, and if you cut them and two dogs went right, she's going left or behind you or somewhere different.
Mm-hmm.
And to fill a scorecard up, she wasn't going to do it. But everybody kind of knew when they heard her honking in there that, you know what, she's going to have a squirrel.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do in a squirrel dog, coon dog, whatnot, but really in a squirrel dog to think every time that dog gets parked, it's going to have a squirrel above its head.
Yeah.
And that's how confident I was in her, just knowing she had him.
Mm-hmm.
Need it, don't need it, whatnot, and it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
We were in a World Hunt final, Woody, Zoe, and Lucy, and I don't get on the paper but one time, and they made 10, 12 trees.
Okay.
Kind of frustrating, but when she got on the paper in there, Andrew Treater that day, I was just walking along, kind of a backup judge kind of deal that day, and of course we were all friends.
Yeah.
And I was going to go to split trees with somebody else, and she's never on the paper, and she honks her horn, and everybody just kind of looked. They had scored on one squirrel. And we walk across that field, and I looked at Andrew walking across there. I said, 7 minutes left after we get off this tree, buddy. If she's got him, cut her. Yeah. I said, if she don't cut her. She had traveled. We'd see her going out fence rows a half a mile. You could just see her going to another section, and she hunted her guts out that day. And Woody wins the world hunt, and Zoe's the reserve, and we're third.
Gotcha. Hey, can't win them all.
No.
That's what squirrel hunting, it's a lot of luck. Just seeing a daggum squirrel up there.
Sure.
They get into dens, nests so easily.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing with the search area that we've got. There's some that want it shortened up, and I can see that at times. We could shorten that up maybe a little bit. But as far as a set of rules, and basically the big two organizations that are around now, I think they've got a great set of rules. Now, would
Mhm.
I tweak something one way or the other? Yeah, sure, I would.
I think
Uh,
everybody would.
yeah, and a lot of times you're thinking I would tweak that because it's going to benefit me.
Exactly.
So you got to have a level set that's fair for everybody, and I think we've really, really got that.
Hmm.
And I think everybody's kind of come to the, well, we could change this a little, change that, and change is good.
Yeah.
And it's all changing. The hunting territory's changing. The cost.
Oh yeah.
You're looking at, having $1,000 in a weekend,
Hmm.
to go to a hunt and hunt for, you know, nothing, next to nothing, or a little bit of something. Which is great for having the other organizations, all of them. I've hunted in all of them. Everybody can fit in somewhere.
Yeah.
You
I think
know,
that's definitely true in both the coon and squirrel dog hunts. Is you can go pay your $20-$30 and hunt those local clubs, or you can go spend thousands of dollars and hunt for trucks and $100,000 or more.
sure, and
So
everybody's got an opportunity there. And I like to go. I like the fellowship, the camaraderie.
hmm
We went out to nationals. Out there. Drove out there last year, 6.5 hours from home. Of course, Uncle Mike had been there a lot, and we get out there. He knows where we need to go eat.
there
We
you
got
go.
us a cabin to stay in. Slept 7. We ended up with 7 people in there and had a big time. But at dinner time, supper time, uh, we pulled 4 tables together and had 20 guys sitting together in there.
Yeah.
And that's where whether you have differences or not, you're sitting there breaking bread with somebody and telling stories and everybody having a good time.
Exactly. Yeah, it's one of the best parts of traveling and going to these hunts and stuff is you get to meet a lot of people, hunt with a lot of different dogs, and get to have fellowship like that, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and here, I guess this is one point that I would bring up that you're hours from home and you get beat, and a lot of guys pack their toy box and go home.
Hmm.
Where we need a few more guys that'll stay around
Yep.
to judge that final to make it better for the guys that are on it.
Hmm.
To have a non-hunting judge, to where somebody doesn't have that pressure, and I realize it's going to cost you a couple, 2 or 3 hours, but I do it a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't do it for me. I do it to help, the hunters, the organization at the time,
Hmm.
and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
And then you're seeing these dogs in a different light while you're not competing against them.
Exactly.
I always figure it takes me 3 times hunting with a dog before I form an opinion.
Hmm.
Now some of them it don't. Good, bad, or indifferent, I'll form my opinion on a dog, and it's hard to change it. You know, yeah, back to Lucy. She did a lot of stuff for us, and super proud of her. And like I said, she can stay here till the day she passes on.
Yep. Now you've kind of started with her, but then now you're a couple generations down. So where'd you go after Lucy?
Well, made a couple crosses on the Bone Crusher dog of Dean's, and had some success there and there's some puppies out of those crosses that have done some winning.
Hmm.
The Copper dog that Les Hart had, I think he just sold him last week. He's kind of like Lucy, deep and lonely.
Okay.
And then Scott McAndrews, Paisley female. She's off of that cross, and Scott's out there in Iowa, and the opportunities are slim.
Yeah.
As far as going to a hunt, he's really got to pack up to go, even to a local.
Yeah.
So it takes some time there to where she hasn't been exposed and done the winning I think she can do.
Yeah.
So then we ended up with the Fast Cash dog, and I decided, yeah, we're going to breed Lucy to him to try see what this does. With his hunt style, he's a coon dog. He is hard going. I'm going to say 9 to 14 mile an hour hunt dog, head up, ambush style, winding type of dog. He he's everything I want in a squirrel dog, but a coon dog.
Yeah.
So we made that cross, and I looked down there at that litter of puppies, and I think there was I'm thinking there was 3 females and maybe just 2, and one of which is Cleo, which is out here in the pen, and the other female went down to Rod Hardy, and her name's Rose. She's never been to a hunt, and she is all squirrel dog.
Okay.
Jamie Oliver's got her in Alabama. We kind of give her to Jamie to hunt and let him hunt her until we decide if we're going to breed her or something at some point.
Yeah.
You can't hunt them all.
No, you can't.
And Cleo, been blessed with her. She treated her first squirrel back here, had the neighbor kids back here during youth deer season, which it really didn't happen this way. I decided to take a walk that day, and I just went down to the other end, had my hunter's orange on, and turned that little puppy loose, 4 months old. I didn't think, she'd just plunder around in the woods, and I'm walking up through there, and she's not getting very far, 100 feet, 200 feet, 300 sometimes, not very far. I'm watching her going up through there, and she just stops and falls treed. And, of course, I walk over there and look up, and 15 feet up, fox squirrel.
Nice.
I'm tickled to death, and kind of laughed about this with you the other night. This is when I thought it was really cute when she'd reach over and yah at you and grab you a little. Now that she's 3, it's not quite so cute when you reach in there now.
Yeah.
And I should have done a better job of handling that. But I just kind of progressed and hunted her and went right along and went into the hunts with her. And the first year I wanted to just get her, make her a squirrel champion. Started out with her young and kind of careful. If I drew something I didn't like, if she was doing something I didn't like, I could withdraw. I was driving the ship, didn't want to put her in a bad spot. And she kind of just got better and better and better and learned. And she never wanted to be with dogs, which is a blessing. She might hang around out there and not know to go on, waiting on me to walk, but she never come in there. And it all worked out. And, as she got older, she figured more things out. And I was telling you, it's been a month ago now. I think I stopped and counted, and I think she'd been at 3 years old, coming 4. She's been in around 75 to 77 hunts.
Yeah. That is a ton of casts to be in.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the hard things for anybody is, you hunt here at home and your dog's really, really tough and doing things right, and you're ready to go to a hunt. You load up and drive 6.5 hours somewhere, and your dog gets out bug-eyed.
Yeah.
And that never affected her. And she's hauled good. She's, different terrain, different this, different that. It
says a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it hasn't phased her, and it's made it easy.
Yeah.
You can jump in here and drive 12 hours to Mississippi, and she's the same dog. And that's been great. She can compete anywhere. Is she the best? No. They're all dogs.
Yep.
But she's consistent.
Yep.
Every time you turn her loose, you know what you're getting. And I get that same feeling walking into her. There's going to be a squirrel above her head.
Yeah.
She's not going to make a ton of trees. 6 trees is a ton for her in 90 minutes.
Okay.
Unless squirrels are moving. But her style, she don't need to get in a shootout. Now, she can compete in one, but she's getting away from dogs also. If you turn them, she's going a different direction. And to get by herself, but she's going to have that squirrel, So those circle trees don't, bite her all the time, unless it's a terrible, terrible day, and she may not get treed.
Yeah.
I've walked in with Lucy numerous times, and I've walked in with her sometimes with zero, nothing.
Yeah.
And it's like, everybody, oh, you're hunting a hound, didn't get treed. Well, yeah, I'm kind of proud of that.
Yep. And not just a wood monster just grabbing trees.
Yeah, yeah, and that's some guys can. There's days when you need it.
Yep.
But on those days, I'm beat. And I'm proud to go that way. But that one tree, reflecting back years and years ago, Andrew handling and a couple really nice cur dogs in on the cast with her. It's a final, and she comes treed at like 3/4 of a mile, and Andrew trees her. Here's her locate. He trees her, and they're going to her. And Greg Maynard happened to be judging the cast at that time. And of course, everybody's following the live feed, or not the live feed, but the play-by-play, and typing in if she stays, and if that, and if she's got to have one to win. And guys that had seen her go at that time fired right back in there with, she ain't going nowhere, and she's got him. And it was special. To be reading those comments. I was sitting in the clubhouse.
You weren't even out there.
No. And Andrew was driving the boat, 17, 18 years old, and here you go, bud. You don't need me out there. Yeah. You've been hunting her all year. Go ahead.
That's awesome.
And as they're walking across to her, she's across a little, not a little bean field, 80, 90 acres across this bean field, and Greg gets halfway to her, and you can see the squirrel. No leaves, and he's flustered her up from there, great big fox squirrel all the way in the top to make her win that hunt that day, and those are the special things that you take from all of it.
Yeah.
You watch somebody else's dog perform. Hey, when I shake your hand at the end of the hunt, whether I win or lose, I give guys a little bit of my 2 cents worth, and what I think, what I'm seeing, hey, I wouldn't do this, I wouldn't do that, but your dog, do what you want.
Yeah.
You like to see guys succeed. You like to see competitive. The dogs have changed over the years.
Yep.
The cur dogs, when I was growing up and just started in this business, I understood why everybody wore tennis shoes. You had to get there because they wasn't staying treed. And whatever happened, breeding wise, that they started staying treed, well, it's been great. It might cause some controversy over the years and all that, but you know what? That's what them dogs needed. And with hunting the hounds, I'm content with what we've got. I want them to do the way I want it done.
Yeah.
And if they don't stay here.
Yeah.
It's just and I'm one guy up here now. I can't have 4 or 5 that are ready to go to hunts. Now I do a lot of times and ask for help and get help. But you're asking a guy to come on Saturday morning that hasn't done the work.
Yeah.
And hasn't seen everything that you see every day and knows the quirks.
Yep.
Reflect back out to nationals. The final that day was probably one of the best casts I'd ever been involved with. Not because I won it, because we scored on 10 squirrels in 90 minutes.
Wow.
With 3 hounds. The Messiah dog, Wade Hildebrand, he's as good as anything in this country. He moves better than anything. He can fly. He's accurate. He does things right. Susan, who's ours, she's in there. She just came off her round that morning of being 4 for 5 and took a 40 on a tree. I don't want to speak out of turn there, but she took a 40 where she had 100 coming. But Logan Hester, PKC handler, didn't need it, took what he needed
there you go.
At the time, and then I lucked in, treed 1 squirrel and got Cleo in, to get to that point. Well, we get turned loose in there, and before we turn loose, Messiah winded a track left-handed, and he's dead facing left, and we're wanting to go straight, and we're kind of chuckling, all laughing there when we turn loose, and he flies in there. Cleo gets treed right ahead of us at 150 yards. Susan actually made the first noise there, beating around a little bit. and Logan doesn't tree her because he knows she's trying to get wind treed. I tree in, Wade trees in. We go to Cleo, immediately score her, and I get cut back loose. Susan gets treed. We go to Wade. We come off of that first set of trees, and we've all got squirrels.
Yeah.
And then, as I'm loose while we're coming off, they're leash locked, and I'm treed at 700 with a squirrel.
Nice.
And the cast was great. I mean, we had a really good time, ribbing each other, and all that. But, you see dog work and you appreciate somebody else's breeding program, somebody else's work. You watch these dogs get passed around a little bit.
Yep.
And you see differences in them from one place to another, some better, some worse. Not to say that I wouldn't sell one, but when one makes me happy, they're probably going to be out here.
Gotcha.
So
that means Cleo's not for sale.
No. Not to get into that story, but I've turned down way more than I should have. It's where two fools met, the guy offering it and me not taking it.
Yep.
And she's not a blow through the world kind of a dog like her mama, but she'll go hunting.
Well, that's a shame. See this box right here? It's full of cash.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. I want to make a cross with her, and would love to get a cross out of her and Messiah.
Yeah.
Another thing that I reflect on all the time, and I'll talk about it with guys, and, for me to jump up and say, hey, in the last 3 years, what male dog have you hunted with that you want to breed your dog to?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's hard. It's hard for me to say, okay, because, when we're doing a breeding, I'm wanting to add and subtract.
Yeah.
You're adding what you need. What are you going to get here? What don't you need from what you got? Trying to make it better. You're not just picking the two best dogs and hoping for the best. So Messiah has definitely shown me, and I know, what he is as far as his breeding. And, his foot speed is amazing.
Well, he's a bird dog cross.
Yes,
correct?
yes, yeah.
Which would also explain that big winded type dog,
yeah.
Head up in the air.
Yeah, and for me to sit here and say, what do I need to do with mine out here, Cleo? She needs to get that head up a little bit more, and a tick more foot speed, so that's what I'm wanting to get from him.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of things that some guys look at it that way. Some guys, are making a cross to sell puppies. Mm-hmm. Some guys are making a cross to hunt their own stuff. Some guys are just making a cross.
Yep.
I'm making one to try to have us something to hunt.
Yep.
Now, we walked by the kennel a little while ago. There's 3 females standing right there in line that we're going to cross on to cash.
Yep.
Just waiting on them to come in heat. And, a couple of those crosses we'll sell some puppies. A couple of those crosses we won't. Mm-hmm. It's just depending on how many we have. But we're going to take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
And Cash, his
been having pretty good luck with his pups, haven't you?
Yeah. He's definitely throwing a lot of the traits that I want in a squirrel dog. Mm-hmm. The head up, hard going, he's head up, hard going, and we're seeing a lot of that early starting, and tree dogs and good about having game.
Yeah.
And
that.
Yeah, and it's where we need to be.
Mm-hmm.
Is he a public stud dog? Absolutely not, because he's terrible. You bring a female in here on day 9 and I know I've got it counted. Everything looks right, and he may not even come out of his dog box. He just throw his head out there and wind and not even get up. It's like, wow. So it's hard to have somebody drive in here from anywhere with a female to breed.
Yep.
So we're probably not going to do any public with him. Not to say that we wouldn't breed him here and there if somebody had something and we thought we could better the squirrel dog world with it.
Mm-hmm.
But not gonna go that route.
He's not going to be the next big lipper or something.
No,
5,000
no,
puppies.
not at all, not at all. And the other funny thing that we don't realize is I just happened to glance because somebody asked me the other day his pedigree, and it's right there on my phone, and I sent it to him, his papers, and for some reason I clicked on the picture and blew it up, and I thought, wow, he'll be 7 at the end of this year.
Yeah, they get old quick.
Yeah,
You don't pay attention.
yeah, and it's like, wow, I need to maybe do some other thinking here, and we're gonna just keep building,
Mm-hmm.
and and I think that's important.
Yeah.
The trash can dog that Caleb Wilson's got is off of Cash and Bailey, who's standing out here. And he won that nationals and looked as good as anything doing it. And he can flat tree squirrels, and he's got a couple quirks to him that hinder him a little bit here and there, but he's all squirrel dog. And Susan, being off of that same cross, she comes back and wins the Puppy Nationals Dog of the Year this year in NSD. She's going to be really nice, It's just the thing, she's not 3 yet.
Mm-hmm.
And been great having Clay involved in hunting her. I don't even see her very often. I kind of told Clay, I said, hey, I had Clay hunt her for me a couple months while I was getting Cleo ready. And I called my buddy Clay and I said, hey, you got time to hunt one? Yeah. I paid him to hunt her a couple months, and the time came when that was over, and I got a hold of him and I said, hey, I'm coming to get her. That's what I'm going to hunt. And then Clay kind of him-hauled there just a second, and I said, what's the matter? He said, man, I really don't want to see her go.
Yeah.
And we kind of come to a friendship agreement there, and she can stay right where she's at.
Yeah.
He loves her, and I like her, and that's great.
Yep.
I can call Clay right now. He's 2.5 hours away, but I can call Clay right now and tell him I need something, and he's going to be up here to help me.
Yeah.
He's going to go somewhere he didn't want to go if I can. He's going to come up here when I'm working and it's dark when I get off work, and have Cleo at his house and be as safe as she could be anywhere and get hunted right.
Mm-hmm.
And ready. And I show up on Saturday. I'm one of those guys that shows up and says, oh, there's my dog.
There you go.
And she's rock hard in shape, ready to go. Everything's been done right. And the friendship with Clay, the honesty you get from him. You call him, it's not all roses every time you talk to him. There's been some bad days.
Yeah.
There's been some bad things, and
but that's what makes it work.
Yes. If you don't get that from, I work a regular job, wish I didn't have to.
Yeah. Don't we all?
Yeah, sure. I wish that I could get up and go hunt every day, or have somebody, I wouldn't know why anybody would pay me to handle for them, but to get one of those gigs, it would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I just got to keep working until I can get to that point where I can be done, and hopefully at that point I can still go.
Yep.
It's this is it's more than a hobby. It's kind of a way of life.
It definitely is.
And when guys take that approach, it means something to them.
Yep.
Cleo was born right out here. Walked down, I looked down at that litter of puppies, and there's that weird puzzle stripe down the middle of that one's back, and I said, that one's mine. And that's how I picked it. The other female we picked out of there, Rod was getting a female. Okay, Rod gets that female.
Yep.
It's just kind of, the way I pick them, get lucky. Yeah. Obviously, get really lucky. I'm no trainer. There's no bells and whistles that get put on them here. It's all, natural ability. They just do what they do, and I bend myself to work with them on that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got to work right.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take one that doesn't satisfy me.
Mm-hmm.
We've had some nice young dogs here in the last 2 years that, were doing the work at other places or here and then go to another place in the network, in the Farm Junk network, I guess, and they didn't work there.
Yeah.
And did they come back here? Did they go back there? Some of them did, some of them didn't, and I don't particularly pass a lot of dogs off.
Yeah.
That's something that I think a lot of us, the culling process needs to, it's going to better the dog world.
Yep.
It's, you find a kid, you find a guy that pleasure hunts that it'll work for.
Yeah.
You find somebody that wants a house dog. Ever how you do it.
Yep.
I think a lot more of that would clean a lot of this up.
Yeah, instead of dogs getting passed around. And the problem is somebody buys a dog for some decent money, and then when it doesn't work out, they feel they got to get something out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what happens. And I mean, I understand it.
Yeah. Yeah. And, we've all been there. I grew up coon hunting like we talked about, and Dad always could find the right dog. And, about July, August, Dad would make 3 phone calls, and we'd get in the truck and go on a ride. And we'd drive somewhere and pick up 4 dogs. And we'd get out, and, and Dad had dealt with these folks and knew what he was getting. And the guy, one of the guys was in Parkersburg, West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't want to guess how many dogs that coon dogs I've hauled out of there, still dogs, open dogs, whatever you needed, you ordered them.
Yeah.
But before we'd leave, that man would always say, tell Dad or me after I went to buying them down there the same way, that one's yours. That's the one that you want to keep. There's the one that you wanted for so-and-so. There's the one, and I would take those dogs home and hunt them for a week or so, and they'd be exactly right. I took one dog back in like a 5-year plan, 5-year time frame.
Wow.
And I called him and I said, man, this dog, and I think the first night I hunted him, he made, say 10 trees. I don't remember the number, and he had 9 coon.
Wow.
And then for the next week, he wouldn't hunt, wouldn't take a step. And I called him back. He'd bring him back. Them other boys been hunting for me. This guy never even hunted. He had guys that he paid to hunt them dogs, and he knew what they were, and he was telling you exactly what they were.
Yeah.
And not, like I said, one dog went back out of all that time.
It's impressive.
Yeah, yeah.
For somebody, I hate to throw the word dog jockey around, but dog trader, whatever.
Yeah.
Most of those guys don't. That title doesn't have a great reputation for being, honest.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's a pretty good track record for somebody that.
Yeah, and
that.
it was one of those things, where I would pull up down there to buy 3 dogs and have to give him $2,000.
Mm-hmm.
Which now with the way dogs are now, that's nothing. Guys are giving that for puppies. But at the time, it was something. And of course, I always had a home for them. For if I went and got 3 dogs, I had 2 of them sold to pay for mine.
Yeah.
And then there's the dog I'm going to hunt. One of the funnier ones that I ever went down to get. Guy had a dog box and when you went down there was 35, 40 dog houses, chains and houses, and then he had beagle pens. And he didn't get along good as far as he had some cancer problems, and he would tell you go to box 47, box 12, and I'd walk down there and get a dog and come walking back up. One time I walked all the way down there, mud, got the dog, he said, you got the wrong dog. So I turned around, walked back. Yeah, I did, and get the next one and come back. Yeah, that's the one. Well, he had a box right up by the road. And every time I got there, I said, well, I'm just coming to get one dog. Why didn't you just tie mine right there? He goes, oh, that's the ones that tie up there when they steal them. They don't want to walk down there in the holler to get them dogs. They just steal this one. And I thought, oh, never thought of that, but okay. Yeah. But I pulled in one time, and I pull up and I look, and a dog comes walking out of a dog box there. And I thought, wow, ain't nobody going to steal that one. And pull up, he comes out of the house, and he's not doing good at this time at all. And I get out, and I go shake his hand, and we talk there a little bit, and he said, there's your dog. And he said, I'm not feeling good, and I didn't want to have to go, And I thought, oh, okay. Well, she's a 70-pound black and tan and had ears about 14 inches.
I saw one of those yesterday.
Yeah, and I looked at her and I said, "You telling me she's a still dog?" And yep, she is stone still and a coon terrier. And I thought, yeah, boy, I think maybe the treatments have got to you. And I load her up, bring her home, and boy, what a coon dog! Just absolutely proud. And another story, jump back to my dad here a little bit on her. He run field trial dogs, and a buddy of his out there in Iowa, Duck Collins, was needing a coon dog. And I'm at work one day. I come home, and her name was Tammy. Tammy's gone. And Tammy's never went anywhere. And I really like Tammy. And I get a hold of Dad. Hey, Tammy's gone. We got to find her. Oh, I picked her up. I sold her. Wow. And Dad would do that to me. When we would pick those dogs up, he'd have a market for them.
Yeah.
And I may hunt one June, July, August, September, October, be ready for coon season, ready to go, and come home that next day and it's gone.
That's when the market's hot.
The market was hot, and away we go. We'll find another one. And that's kind of maybe why I don't sell as many as I should.
Yeah.
I get attached. They all, I had coon dog that when I was 11, 12 years old, Swapper's Day was going on over here at Johnstown. I'm running around back in there, and I've come and find Dad, and I found a dog, Dad. I want to buy it. What do you want to buy? Coon dog. Young dog. Okay, we'll go look at it. He walks back in there in that Trader's Row there, and guy had a black and tan looking little female and a walker female that were probably litter mates. If not, they were real close to the same age, tied up there, and Dad got to dealing with him there, and the man wanted $100 for him, for one of them, and Dad said, I'm not giving you 100, I'll give you 50, and went through all that, and nope, turns around to walk away, and of course I'm dragging my feet, mad, wanting that dog, and that guy says, well, I'll take 50. And I walk up, and I think at the time I was going to grab that black and tan, and Dad said, don't you dare, you get that walker dog. And I grabbed her, and we let her up out of there on a piece of baling twine that she was tied up with. She needed some care a lot. I think they were eating a piece of corn on the cob.
Oh, jeez.
Tied out there at the time. And we get her, and Dad said, put her in the dog box, and don't you dare get her back out, till we get out of here. And, of course, we're running field trial dogs at that time, and we're going to be there all day and all weekend, really. And I get her, get her out, let her go to the bathroom, put her back up. We take her home, and we go to treating her, worming her, deworming her, and flea care and bathing and going through all that stuff with her. And Dad goes hunting with some guys that had some pretty powerful night hunt dogs at that time there around the house, Bob Shepard and Ed Van Horn, Rodney Van Horn. Those guys had some really, really nice dogs at that time. One of the dogs Dad had sold to Bob, and she paid for our new Morton building.
There you go.
At the time. And they go hunting, and Dad said, well, I just got a pup I'll take. And they go hunting that night, and we go, and those dogs get struck and are running a track, different tracks or whatever, and they hear a dog over here left-handed. Everybody kind of looking around, and Dad said, that must be Tommy's pup. And he walks over there and goes over, and she's got a coon.
Nice.
And took off from there. Well, she was my buddy. All those years of being that young, I went with Dad and carried pack coons and hunted all I could hunt and did whatever, but he was making that $25, $30 a hide.
Yeah.
And, going through that. Well, I get my driver's license. She's a seasoned veteran at that time.
Yeah.
And coons are worth $5. But I could drive you right now to the exact, there's a house there now, but I can drive you to the exact woods. We can walk over the trees still there. The first tree I made at 16 years old by myself.
Yeah.
On
That's
that,
pretty cool.
Driving, had my license. I drove to the woods, turned the dog loose, went in treed, and I shot a coon out right there, and like I said, those memories are priceless. And,
Definitely.
And the wins, a cast win to me isn't important. It's the performance of the dog on a weekly basis, basically for me, because I'm going somewhere to a hunt.
Mm-hmm.
You get together with 3 guys to check everybody's oil, see how things are looking. To do a little training if you think you need to. Those days are important.
Yep.
For everybody, for the dogs, for you. You get to see a lot that way. You get to learn. You get to learn from guys. There's a lot of guys that don't teach.
You're exactly right there.
And there's some guys that teach a little.
They act like it's a big secret.
Yeah, and there's training things that guys do that I don't understand, that I don't do, that I see where it's a benefit.
Mm-hmm.
I see a huge benefit in it, but it's not something I'm going to do.
Yeah.
If that needs to be done, it's going to be done somewhere else.
What works for one person doesn't always work for the next.
Yeah. And but the little things, the care of a dog, the preparation, the differences in what guys do, you can learn a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say the day you quit learning is the day you need to quit.
Yep.
Guys talk about getting to a cast. Do you get nervous? No, I don't get nervous anymore. It is what it is. I've done a couple.
I'd say so.
But you get in that final, and whether it's a $30 final or you're in the World Hunt final, there's some butterflies there. There's got to be, especially if you're hunting a young dog. And those, like I said, those are the things that I take away every week when you go.
Yeah.
Weather conditions, here and there, those are different. Terrain's different. And the dogs are different.
Exactly.
And like I said, those are the things that you want to take back and reflect on, and you learn. I've walked away a couple times thinking, boy, I'd like to own that dog. And 2 weeks later, you draw that dog again, and you see a totally different dog. And like I said, I like to have 3 shots at them.
Yeah.
Before I make a determination on what I think they are, because we could have all made a bunch of mistakes.
Yep.
Buying some dogs that, boy, wow, that cast was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
As good as it can get. And then the next 3 times, where'd that come from? Or the next cast, you go walk with it again. It's like, wow, it never did that earlier.
Yeah.
And of course, they all going to do, they ain't never done that before.
Yep. Famous words.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, we could sit here and probably talk for another 2 hours, but unfortunately, I got to get rolling. Got to get back up to the fairgrounds. So
yeah,
I appreciate you taking me along this morning, seeing Cleo go a little bit, and sitting down with me.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your time. We had fun, had a good time. We can do it again sometime, or
sounds good.
Have a little something maybe more to talk about. But yeah, the stories could be endless.
Yeah.
I appreciate you do a great job. This is great for everybody. The enjoyment everybody gets. I know while I'm at work, pop the podcast in while I'm driving job to job. I listen to a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And to hear my friends.
Yeah.
My competitors. Everybody. Just to hear a little story and to hear somebody you don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
You hear their philosophy and you think, I could take that home with me. I could put that in my pocket.
Yep.
Like I said, we can all learn something, and you do a great job, and I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Tree Talking Media. And until next time, keep them talking in the timber.